Okay, so I have the shadow box all complete, and I have the piece of paper down here on the floor. What I need to do is I need to get the piece of paper, put it in the inside, or figure out the inside diameter of that and trace it on there so that all the work that I do on the paper fits exactly inside of the shadow box. Under here, I have a flashlight, and the reason for that is that way when I shut the lights off, um, I'm able to get the perimeter of the box. I'm just gonna go off of the corners, so I'm gonna mark each corner. Once I do that, then I'll take a ruler and then draw straight lines across. That way I know, you know, the rough areas to where I need to stay inside. Okay, so now it's drawn, and I don't know if you can kind of see the line going all the way around. And so now I know where to stay inside, or where to stay inside of. And so it's just a matter of now coming up with whatever design I'm going to put in here, or whatever I'm going to come up with in here. To my surprise, I could not find any already made tombstones or, you know, things that I'm looking for this project. So I went and got some plaster of Paris. I already have some tin foil and this mixing cup, which I keep dropping everywhere. I'm going to see if I can't mix this up and get a couple of things made that I need for this project. So I'm gonna have to mix it, hopefully get the right viscosity there, and then I'll carve out the shapes and things that I need. So I've got it basically to where I want it, where it's just kind of really hard to mix now. Got some gloves because I don't want it, while it's at this viscosity, I don't want it to get inside of my nails and then have to scrape that out. So I'm going to now just take all this out, and then I'm going to form the shapes somewhat to what I want. I'll probably leave them out for a couple minutes so that it starts kind of drying up, and then I'll start carving into it. I don't think I don't know where my carving tools are at, but this is supposed to be fairly simple. These are supposed to look fairly simple, and so I'm sure I can do it with any, you know, metal tool that I've got laying around. So we'll see how that goes. There's tons of YouTube videos on how to mix this stuff. So I just went ahead and had water in there, and I just kept adding until it got to where I wanted it to be. I added little by little. Obviously, I didn't just dump a bunch in there, and then, you know, because you keep going back and forth with the mixture. So here is the tombstone. I wanted to leave it looking fairly weathered and like, you know, pieces have chipped off of it and everything like that. And so that's the reason for it like this. I do need to probably decide on how I'm going to have it sitting in the picture itself. I want to make it look like it's coming out of the picture. And so I might have to shave it on an angle so that it sits like this, but it's sitting flat, meaning all this is gonna have to be removed, which I kind of really like this side because it looks like a big chunk of it just broke off right there. So I don't know. This stuff's messy, by the way. Kind of gets everywhere, so, you know, have a bigger working area than what I have if you decide to do this. But this was pretty much almost done. It's just a matter of reducing the size, and then I can move over to the cross. I'm just using a razor blade. It's the easiest way to kind of get down and remove material. This piece right here is going to be part of the moon. So the moon's going to continue like this, but this is just kind of how it's coming up. It'll show, like, you know, the moon coming at you, or at least that's the idea. So there it is. I kind of put some lettering inside there. Once I paint it, I'll paint the letters darker, and then the crack will be kind of darker as well. It was just simple RIP, but obviously the P will disappear within the crack. So there's the cross. This one has a little bit more of an angle because when it sits on the piece of paper, I'm actually going to draw a little bit, like a small extension to it. So it looks like it's, you know, coming out like so. Basically the same concept as this tombstone, but this one does have a significantly sharper angle. If you're doing something like this and you're going for the weather look, I definitely advise that you shape it to where you kind of want it before you start cutting it off. It's much easier to have that weather look without really carving it out than carving it out and then trying to make the weather look on it. As you can see here, I did okay, but it was a lot of, you know, digging in there to try to get something like this that just naturally occurred from me just setting the piece down and putting it together. All right, and so there is my version of the moon. I put a bunch of these little pinhole things, or not pinholes, but those little holes so that it looks like the craters. Also on the edge, I kind of made those there. And I made, like, you know, you can kind of see, I kind of made this crevice here. And so everything will be accented a little bit more with, once I put paint on it. But yeah, so that's basically it. Same concept over here as well. I shaved, I just picked up a bunch of the shavings that I shaved it like on a very steep angle because this is gonna, I think I'm gonna have it kind of go like this. I'm not 100% sure on how the moon's gonna sit just yet, but I do know I need it on an angle as well. Okay, so I hope you can kind of see this. This is the bottom of the outline of the coffin. It's so big that I have to put the piece of paper sideways on my art desk. My art desk is not big enough for this piece. I could put it right side up, but then the piece of paper would be like folded over. So the reason for these pieces are that this moon, or at least what I'm trying to do here, is this is gonna be the moon. It's gonna sit about right there. This cross, we'll probably put it somewhere around here, or I don't know, something like that. And the tombstone will be sitting somewhere here. And then obviously I'll draw more tombstones and crosses in here. I also have a, one sec. The pieces of shrub or whatever that I cut off, they're going to be the trees. So obviously I'm not going to use the entire thing. It's just too much going on there. So I'm only going to cut pieces off. Okay, so I've done some rough outlines of what I'm going to be drawing. One of the trees, like I said, is going to go here. The other one's going to go here. This is the outline of the actual tombstone. This is the outline of the actual cross. And the rest is going to be drawn in, well, charcoaled in. So as you can see, there's just a lot of outlines of bats. I'm a little concerned about this big one here. The main piece is going to go in here. And I should probably actually bring the main piece. So this is the entire reason as to why I've made this coffin and this whole art piece. Basically make a home for my taxidermied bat here. And so it's gonna go there. I actually don't know if it's a female or a male yet, or if it was a male or a female yet. So I don't want this one down here to take away from this one. So I might change this one up a bit, make it smaller or something. I really wanted it to go, like, have this one be in front of it. However, looking at it now compared to this, it's just too big. I've began working on the piece now, and it's probably a good idea that I show you kind of what I've got here. So I have this smudging tool. I made this one. It I don't know what that stick used to be, but I just basically grabbed the stick and wrapped I believe this is, I'm pretty positive this is tissue paper. I wrapped it and just taped it up. It's the best, it is actually is the best smudging tool I have. I'm able to cover huge surfaces, and because of the tissue being so soft, it doesn't leave dark marks, unlike, you know, something like this. I do have a pack of these ones, but I don't really use them too much, as I mentioned. I don't like that they make the smudging super dark. I only use them if I really need to smudge an area, like I guess like this tree. If I wanted to keep it this dark, I would just smudge this, and then that's where I would use one of these. Pencils. Oh, I probably should grab these ones. Most of this is going to be made with these charcoal sticks, and I guess they're vines, but I prefer to just use the medium for a lot of stuff. That is what these pencils mostly are as well. Actually, I lied. The pencils are soft. I do have one that's medium, and for these ones, I do like the pencil. I do like to keep my pencils in different shades. So like this one's 6B, 4B, 2B, where the vines are just going to all be medium. And basically, it's going to just be a simple charcoal. Oh, I do have this white color pencil too. I don't know if I'll end up using this, but I do use these often sometimes as well to make the light highlights. Other than that, oh, and this piece of paper, I just use it to set it on top of the piece. That way I can rest my hand up there and then draw on, and that way when I'm like moving my hand, the bottom of my hand isn't smearing the bottom. Obviously the paper will only work if you don't let the paper move around, meaning as you're drawing, you want to keep the paper still and only move your hand, because if the paper is moving, then you're still going to create the same effect as like your hand, obviously just not the oil from your hands and so on and so forth. You're going to avoid that. But the paper will still, if it moves around, it's going to smear your artwork. So yeah. Oh, and I need an eraser. I found these to be some of the best erasers. As I've been working on this, I'm catching myself doing detailed work, and I want to keep all the charcoal super simplified. And so I'm going to take a step back and, well, I'll probably finish this bottom piece, the tree and everything like that, and then kind of look at it and determine how that's going to go with the bats out here and everything like that up there. Because if I continue this type of detail work down here, then when I get up to the bats, like the fur around the stomach and you know, some of these you might start seeing their eyes and things like that, maybe details on the wings. And I don't want to go that far, because again, I wanted to not take away from the actual, the real objects that are going to be on here. And so, yeah, I'm gonna definitely get this bottom part done and then look and see how detailed it is. And if it's too detailed, then I'm probably gonna be smudging and smearing some of the detail work off. Real quickly, let me kind of show you a mistake I've made. So this is how far I've gotten now. Pretty much it's to the point where just the real pieces need to go in, so I can start moving up. However, I'm hoping you can see the entire thing here. You can't, so let me... Okay, so there is the piece that I drew and the bats, but then over here is the designated area where I did the moon. And so the light, essentially how this piece sits, let me see if I can go all the way out. The light would be shining this way, right? So it would be coming like that. Let me see if the moon was still, yeah, so regardless of how it is, I need to move this moon over here because all the light marks, so if I can kind of get closer, so everything's getting light from this way. Obviously all the shadows are coming this way, so meaning that the moon needs to sit on this corner and all these bats need to come over here. And I always do things from left to right, and so I really wanted the moon to be on the left, but it's either redoing all the shadows and the highlights or moving the moon that hasn't even been completed. It's a little harder for me to stay on track with this piece because it's so big, so I focus on like a small area. It forces me to focus on a small area. Usually I'd be focusing on the entire picture, and so then I end up with things like this. So I just have to be a little more cautious once I do make this change. And I really wish that I could just be all over the entire piece at once, but unfortunately I can't. So I've gotten a little carried away. So I started out with just making a bunch of stuff in my hands. I started out with just kind of adding a little bit of detail as the bats got closer, and then I ended up starting to do kind of a lot of detail. Like this wing is so detailed for what I'm trying to do anyway. So I got to figure out how to smudge him a little bit more. Luckily, I didn't go into his face too much. So, and he's the closest bat, I think, out of all the ones that I've got. I guess this one too. So, but this one's, the light's coming down. This one, most of the, I guess their wings are transparent or see-through somewhat. Okay, so luckily these are only going to be the only two that are going to have this much detail. The other ones I should be able to just kind of go back to the most this right here. But yeah, let me see if I can pull this up back. That's kind of what it's starting to look like right now. And all the bats are done for now. Before I continue with the piece and I get, you know, going on the moon and then the sky and all that, it is getting to the point where that piece is almost finished, and so I want to take some time and finish these real quick. So I have, I believe that's midnight black, and then granite black, and then I have white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just apply some paint on these two and this, this, I guess the paintbrushes and everything, there's nothing fancy. These are super cheap paintbrushes. And then this is just, I cut the bottom part of a water bottle because it's got the bottom sections and it's easier to just mix paint. I have actual containers for this, but I like this one because once I'm done with it, I'll just throw it away. I don't have to clean it up or anything like that. The paintbrushes I will clean. Even though I have like 30 of these, it's just, this one's already kind of trimmed to how I wanted it to be trimmed. It just kind of comes to that weird point where this one's just flat. So this is what I have right now. I'm unsure as to how realistic that moon looks, but without adding like the yellow and orange tones and everything like that, I can't really make it look bright unless I leave it white. So I don't know. We'll see what it ends up looking like on the picture. I'm pretty content with how this looks. And this one, they definitely look like stone or, you know, whatever, granite or whatever the tombstones were made of, or old tombstones are made out of. But yeah, just this one. We'll see how it ends up looking. I really should have done the background before I did all the bats. Now I have to go around the 20 or so bats I drew. So, lesson learned though. That's what it's gonna look like there. I clearly remember telling myself that I wasn't gonna put a lot of detail in it, and yet there seems to be quite a bit of detail now. But it's fine. One thing that's kind of happened as I've gotten further and further with it, I've kind of grown attached to it, and now I feel bad about gluing the tombstone and the cross and the moon on there and then the trees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of a different way about going about getting those pieces to be on there. Also, I got to figure out how I'm going to get this piece to sit and be stuck inside the shadow box without gluing the backs of it to something. So yeah, here's kind of a close-up of it. I have this template cut out for that way I know what to cut on that. But before I do anything on it, I need to spray it. I'm going to be spraying with this. This helps prevent like smudging and everything like that. That way when I put the template on top, none of the work gets all messed up. While the piece upstairs dries, I'm going to try to hurry up and put these magnets in the back of these, just using my Dremel tool. So I'm just gonna carve out a slot big enough for these to fit in there. And I have to be super careful because this is hard now, but also it's fairly thin. And so I'm definitely gonna make sure that the tool's doing all the work and just slightly and not really put very much pressure. If I notice this kind of working a lot, I'll probably ease off a little bit too. Make sure there's not a lot of heat or anything like that on the piece, because the last thing I need is for these to break. And I guess if they did break though, it forced me to make a new piece, which they would be damp and they'd be easy to carve this piece out on, or the slot out on. So to kind of just demonstrate what I'm trying to do here, here's a magnet. Well, it was a lot easier with two hands. There we go. So basically that's the basics of it. I'm going to just more than likely hot glue it. I think that should be sufficient, and or else maybe look up to see what type of glue I might have around that I can use on this that will do the same thing. This idea came to me as I was looking at how to put this piece inside the shadow box. I've drawn these outside lines here and I have this inside line. I'm not really going to explain what I end up doing here because I'm not 100% sure if it's going to work out. If it does not work out, then this whole piece will be cut out by the inside line. If it does work out, then you'll see what I end up with afterwards. It ended up working out. It's gonna take a little more work now though, because now I have to go around the edges in here and I have to follow this pattern in there. I was kind of unsure as to what I was gonna do, whether I was gonna put some cloth in here and then just put this piece back in there. But I felt it would probably look better if I just continued everything going on the sides there. And so, yeah, so I'm going to continue the clouds, the ground here, also just the open sky that's happening up here at the top. And then this part should be easy. The clouds might be a little difficult trying to kind of match what's going on there. And then this might get a little complicated, especially down here where I have to follow the shadow of the tombstone coming this way and then the cross coming this way. I've gone ahead and pulled the piece out of the shadow box, so it's, able to just kind of come out like that. The reason being is that I need to figure out the whole magnet situation. So for example, this is the magnets right here, and it goes like so on the piece, and so I will need to have a metal strip, which I've got plenty of them cut out right here. So I'll need to have a metal strip coming across like that on the actual shadow box itself. And these are the strips I cut, by the way. And so there's going to be one down there. I got to figure out how I'm going to place the bat. And then the cross down here, that one will be pretty easy. These strips are so big that they'll take up most of the space down there at the bottom. And hopefully, I'm just going to put 2 of them, probably like one here and one there. That way this other one right here will hold the tree that's going to be coming in, and I have yet to still put that one together. I focus mostly on the tombstone and the cross. That I have to go back to the tree, well, the trees, because there's 2 of them. So, but yeah, I'm trying to really finish this up today. It's taken me a couple of weeks actually, if not longer, to get this far. So so this is essentially what it's looking like right now. I have that one piece drying. That one seems to just lift up a little bit if it doesn't have any weight on it. So I have the glue setting on there, and then I just got to put this last piece on, and this is the one that's going to go for the bat. I put it a lot bigger. I also got a much bigger bat magnet for the bat, just in case it was to fall. If any of these other pieces fell, like, it's not really a big deal. Even if the moon fell, I could remake those. But if the bat falls and the wings fall apart or something like that, that wouldn't be good. So I got a pretty heavy duty magnet. It has quite a bit of strength, so I don't think it's going to go anywhere. And then once I glue it, it should be fine. While I wait on a couple of other things, real quickly, I'll open up the bat and let's see if I can glue the magnet on the back. I purchased, well, that's what it is. And I purchased it online. Obviously I don't do any form of, well, not obviously, but I don't do any form of taxidermy. So let's see what it looks like. I probably should have grabbed at least a razor blade. I'm like trying to be super gentle with ripping the packaging open because I don't want to mess it up accidentally. Wait, I think I have my scissors here somewhere. There we go. This should make things a million times easier. Granted, the plastic is just falling apart everywhere, so okay. See his face. That's his face. So cute. You can see his little teeth and everything. I have to look at how much fur and how it's kind of set up on the, like how its back is, because I don't want the magnet glued onto its these wings. I can tell they're super fragile. Let me see if I can pull them out somehow. Oh, being so careful. The wings feel like the thinnest type of paper ever. Okay, yeah, so probably just stick the magnet like this on its back. And it's not gonna require too much, just maybe like a dot of glue to hold it. It doesn't have as much fur back here as I thought it would. So it should be good to go once my gun is, actually my gun's already ready to go. So I'm just gonna flip them upside down. I'm gonna use the same stuffing or cotton, can't even talk right now, that they supplied. And that way its face does not get messed up while I just gently press the magnet into its back. So let's do that real quickly. Okay, yeah, it won't require too much pressure. I'm not satisfied with how that glue went. I'm gonna just rip that off. Let's try it again. Ow, it's so hot. Trying to do this kind of in a hurry. That's much better. Okay. I believe that should have done it. So in a couple of seconds, I'll lift it up and see if it just lifts up by the magnet. Which it does. It might require more glue though. I feel like that just grabbed most of the fur, which is what I was not trying to have it do. But there's a lot of give in there. That's the reason for me putting just the dot in the center of glue. That way I can have the edges to see how much I need to manipulate inside there. Okay, so I'm just gonna mess with it a little bit more. I need to be fully concentrated, so I'm not really gonna talk or record. Okay, so everything should have dried now. So it's assembly time. I'm going to put it all together and let's see what. Let's hope everything's in place, in the right place, and everything works out fine. So let me grab the piece. I did make it so it fits extremely snug in here. Okay. Let's put the things that I don't. Oh, that one fit just great. Let's see this one. That one also went in really well. The trees, I don't know if I showed this, but that's where the magnets are at. Now I can't remember where the trees exactly. Oh, well, that answers that. This branch is like hanging on with hopes and dreams, but should be okay. Kind of don't. I might break this one off. There we go. Much better. Wasn't letting it get close to the, and then I'll just end up drawing the little piece that I broke off. This one, the magnet's really good in there, so this actually goes like this. And I need to go up a little higher. Is that gonna be? Yep. Good. Oh, come on, little guy. Wow, that magnet. I definitely should have not put such a strong magnet. Next piece I make, if I decide to use magnets, I'm definitely going to avoid that strong of a magnet on the actual piece. That, yeah, that magnet's too much. The piece won't get smudged anymore. Once I spray it, it's pretty permanent. That stuff, it becomes like if you paint it on it. So I'm able to, obviously I can't go too hard on it, but enough. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to, is it crooked? I can't tell if the actual bat is crooked. Okay, I'm happy with it. That's enough of that. So yeah, I'm gonna just put the door back on, and then the piece is complete. Oh, actually it's not. I need to draw the remaining parts of this tree right here. This one down here as well. That branch that I mentioned. I already drew the, here, let me kind of show you. I already drew the shadows of the tombstone and the cross, but I definitely need to still do that. And it's complete.